Hey there folks, John here with Through My Lens, and today I'm coming to you with another knife-related video. Today we're going to be taking a look at this Reeve large Sebenza 31 with a black micarta inlay. Now let me say from the onset that this is going to be less of a review and more of an overview and a discussion of Reeve knives and the Sebenza and kind of my collection and kind of where I'm going from here. And I say that because a few months ago, I did get this large Sebenza 31 plain Jane that I did do a very comprehensive and complete review here on the Through My Lens YouTube channel. And if you go back and take a look at the videos here on the channel, you will see that review, as well as a review of this Reeve Sebenza 21. And when I did the review of the 31 here, not only did I, highlight and overview all of its, functions and pros and cons and things, but I did compare and contrast it to the 21 and kind of highlighted what the new features are in this generation, the latest generation of the Reeve Sebenza. So I'm not going to cover any of that ground that I've previously covered in this discussion. Instead, I guess I want to begin by talking a little bit about why I decided to pick up the black micarta inlay version of the large Sebenza 31. And first and foremost, aesthetics. I really, really find this knife to be attractive. When I bought my large 31 plain Jane that I just showed you, I actually looked around for this version of the Sebenza and I couldn't find one. The Sebenza 31 is pretty new. I think they just started releasing the 31 to dealers late last year and early this year. Of course, we're all living right now in the COVID-19 environment, and I think it's not a big stretch of speculation to say that Reeve Knives is in all likelihood not operating at peak efficiency from a production capability. So the knives aren't coming out into the market as quickly as I think anyone would like. So this has been a difficult knife to find. I knew they would come out eventually. I think another batch is coming out soon. But a dealer called, or a website called Knife Joy, I think a lot of you will be familiar with them. They came up with one, a brand new one with a late May production birth date on it. And I had let them know that I was in the market for one, let me know if they found one. They came up with one and only one, and I did pick it up. Just came today, and I am thrilled because, again, I really do like the looks of this knife. Micarta is new for me. I've never owned a knife that either has micarta scales or inlays like this. Historically, I don't particularly care for the look of micarta, but for whatever reason, the execution of the black micarta inlays on this Sebenza I find really, really attractive. And of course, they're doing the inlays a little differently on the 31. I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a moment. So aesthetics was a big reason. Another reason being, I think this will be a better daily driver for me than either of the other two Sebenzas that I own. Let me explain why. When I reviewed this knife, and of course I've had other large Sebenza plain Janes before, and I've always had a bit of an issue with the snail trails that develop on the titanium scale here. Let me see if I can bring this up and maybe show in the light. Try to show, I don't know if I can effectively get it. There we go. Yeah, you're probably starting to see it's more common up in here, but it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. I purchased this one pre-owned, and it did have some snail trails on it. It also already had another common issue that you see with the plain Jane large 31s is that the anodized blue thumb stud was showing wear at the tip, so you can kind of see it's kind of worn silver at the tip and blue at the base. Very, very common with these, particularly people who carry them and use them a lot. They say that the snail trails are kind of a mark of character, and That means you use it. Again, I'm a little OCD, and if I can avoid snail trails, I would like to. If I can avoid wear marks on the thumb studs, I would like to do that. So the thought was that with the micarta inlays, it will provide more protection for the titanium scales, certainly on both sides, and the hardware is not anodized; it's plain silver, and it looks like overall this is just going to be a lot more resistant to showing wear than even the less ornate or plain 31 that I already have. So that was pretty attractive. From a blade standpoint, they both are S35 VN blades. Both have identical stone wash, so the blades will be equally resistant to showing wear. So I really do like the Chris Reeve stone wash. I think that's pretty fantastic. So those were the big reasons why I wanted to pick up the black micarta inlay 31. So I guess where it fits in my collection, you can see that I now have 3 Sebenzas. Let me go ahead and zoom out here so that you can get a little better look at my growing Chris Reeve Sebenza collection here. Where does this fit? Where do the others fit together? Well, again, I see this more of a daily driver, a daily user that's going to regularly go into my rotation. This one, I think it will too. I think if I am better about keeping it in the leather sheath or pouch that comes with a Sebenza, you can also order them on the website. I think it will perhaps show less wear on the titanium scales, as well as perhaps be protecting wear happening from the anodized blue thumb studs. So I think these are going to be hopefully daily drivers. This one more so than the 21. The 21, this is when I bought it, it was probably the first Sebenza I had bought in a long time. Bought it earlier this year, around the time of my birthday. Again, check my videos list, because I do have a video review of this knife. But when I bought this was the first Sebenza I'd owned in several years, and I had kind of been looking on the lookout for one of these models that was a Blade HQ exclusive. You can't get them anymore. They're pretty rare. I love the inlays, the black micarta inlays, or excuse me, the black carbon fiber inlays, and I love the polished finish that the titanium has. That's a big difference from these two, as well as the blade, has a much different finish to it. It's not a stone washed. It's got more grind lines, and it's more polished, and just a fancier knife altogether. So that said, I really don't need 3 Chris Reeve Sebenzas, so I think one of them is going to be sold. Any guesses as to which one it will be? Anyone? No guesses. Okay, well, I do plan on selling this 21. As much as I love it, as much as I think it may be the most attractive of the 3 Sebenzas that I have, I do think I want to sell it because it's a Blade HQ exclusive, because it is pretty rare. I have been very reluctant to carry it. Granted, I haven't been going to the office because of COVID-19. I've been working from home since March, and I haven't really, quote unquote, been carrying my knives outside the house much anyway. But this one, because it's so pristine, because there's no wear anywhere on the knife, I've been very reluctant to carry this anywhere, even in the leather pouch. I've just really just gotten it out to handle it and to take pictures of it, which kind of brings me to my next reason why I would sell this. This is actually a very difficult knife to photograph. The scales, again, are polished. Depending on how the light hits it, you're either going to kind of get blown out highlights, the scale is going to get washed out, or if it's tilted against the light a little differently, it's going to look completely flat, like it's not at all polished, kind of like that. And you really have to prop the knife just perfectly so that the light hits it just so that it looks polished but not blown out. And for me, because I'm a photographer and I love to photograph knives, if you're subscribed or a follower on my Instagram feed, you'll know that I post a lot of pictures of my knives on my Instagram. Please head over there and give me a follow. I'd really appreciate it. You won't regret it because there's a lot of great knife content there. But these knives photograph a heck of a lot more, or more easily than this one. So that kind of reduces my enjoyment of it too. So this one, I think, is going to get sold, and I'm probably going to just keep these two for the most part, at least initially. In terms of my plans for these two, while I'm kind of honeymooning with this one and enjoying the black micarta inlay, breaking it in, I'm going to be very soon sending this back to the mothership, back to the factory at Chris Reeve Knives for the spa treatment. I'm going to have them reapply the media tumbled finish to the titanium scales, and I'm going to have them replace the thumb stud, and I'm going to have them put a double thumb stud on the knife. And the reason being is, and this is something I've talked about in a lot of my videos, 90% of the knives that I own are knives that if I needed to press them into a defensive purpose, I could do that. And for me, it's very necessary to be able to open a knife left-handed if I should need to use it defensively, because when I'm in situations when I can conceal carry, I typically carry my firearm on my strong hand on my right side, and I typically carry my knife on my left side. So it's really important in that situation for me to be able to open the knife left-handed. And I've had double thumb stud Sebenzas before, and I really like them. I like the look. I just think it looks a lot better. This looks kind of like incomplete and unfinished to me without another thumb stud on the side. So I really do prefer that, and it's not expensive or prohibitive to do that. So I'm going to do that. When this knife comes back then from doing the spa treatment, I will send this knife back to Chris Reeves as well in order to also have the double thumb stud treatment done to this knife. So I'm pretty excited about that because I think these knives will be, for my purposes, absolutely perfect for that. And again, it's well known that the Chris Reeve knives, or the Chris Reeve Sebenza, is, near, if not absolutely perfect EDC knife for most tasks. But there's really no reason that this knife could not flex into a defensive purpose if need be. Plenty sharp. The blade length is probably a little bit longer than some of my pure defensive knives that I have. The steel is fine. All I need is that double thumb stud to be able to deploy it with either hand, and I think I would be completely comfortable in the unlikely scenario that I would have to use my knife defensively. So that's kind of my game plan for both of these Sebenzas going forward. So what's next for my Chris Reeve knife collection? Do I plan to stop here? Maybe, but probably not. I could see myself wanting to get an S45 VN blade steel Chris Reeve Sebenza when they come out, and I think they're expected in the next few months. I again, just speculating here, I'm guessing that Chris Reeve Knives is simply running out their remaining supply of S35 VN before they transition any of the current knives that they're making over to S45 VN. And S35 VN, completely perfect. It's wonderful, particularly with the way Chris Reeve Knives does S35 VN. It's absolutely wonderful. It's probably more steel than I'll ever need. But of course, everybody wants the next best, bigger, better thing. And I will probably want to get at least one of the new S45 VN knives when they come out. Perhaps I will also want to be able to get a carbon fiber inlay Sebenza when they come out. And again, I'm guessing that will be another exclusive situation where one of the major knife retailers gets an exclusive on carbon fiber inlays. Because I really do like it. Again, that's one of the most attractive parts of this knife. I have to say that I do like the single large inlay that is used on the 31s better than the 2 rows of inlays that was done on the Sebenza 21s. It's not a big preference, but I do like it a little better. Of course, the 31 and this way of doing the inlay is not new. Chris Reeve Knives, in their annual models, did do the single piece inlay like this in the past. So this is not something that is completely new, but this is the first time we've seen it on regularly available production models. And again, I do like it. I like the fact that it covers more of the knife to protect it. And to my eye, the aesthetics are better than the 2 rows of inlays. So I'll probably want to get a carbon fiber inlay when they come out. I'll probably want to get one in S45 VN. Maybe I can get two birds in one stone at that point. I also wouldn't mind picking up another Zahn. Again, I've reviewed the Zahn before. I've owned an Zahn. I had one with a traditional drop point blade, but I wouldn't mind getting an Zahn with a Tanto blade, because I really like the way Chris Reeve Knives does their Tanto blades. So that kind of is attractive to me. And I also eventually might, this one's a little bit of a stretch for me, because again, I tend to prefer knives that can flex into a defensive purpose, but everybody needs, that gentleman's knife that, when you have to wear a suit, or you don't want a knife bulging in your pocket, it would be nice to pick up a Nandi. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Their smaller gentleman knife, one with carbon fiber, because I think those look really, really nice. So those are some things that I'm thinking about. I don't think my collection of Chris Reeve knives will ever go beyond 3 or 4 at most. I don't consider myself a collector. I consider myself more of an enthusiast, and I generally don't keep more than about 10 knives, but I find that I'm wanting to consolidate my collection to primarily Chris Reeve knives and Rick Hinderer knives. So that's just kind of as I've matured and grown older in both years and experience within knives, that's where my tastes seem to be gravitating. So I think that's kind of my current plan. Well, there you have it. There's my review and kind of overview of the Chris Reeve Large Sebenza 31 with black micarta inlays. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Take care. God bless. We'll see you in the next one. I hope you've enjoyed this production from the Through My Lens YouTube channel. If you did, please click on the like button and do share the video on social media. If you'd like to see more content like it, please do subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and do check out Through My Lens at www.throughmylens.org.